Everybody, hello! My name is Sasha Sova, and today I'm gonna do a vocal analysis, like a reaction, but a vocal analysis for BABYMETAL and Slaughter to Prevail vocals in their new featuring, which is called Song 3. I already made a reaction for that video, you can check it out, but reaction is not getting monetized. It's just blocking, you know. Thanks God that we at all can watch that as a reaction. But I've decided to sometimes to make a separate vocal analysis when we can just talk about vocals, because I'm a vocal teacher, right? So, and today let's talk about BABYMETAL and Slaughter to Prevail, and let's check out their vocals. So I'm gonna stop the song all the time because of the things I've told you just now. So that is false chord screaming. We have some options in extreme vocals like false chord and fry, scream and mix, or inhale or something like that, but this is like a classical false chord when you just exhaling a lot but controlling your breathing, controlling your resistance, you know. I wouldn't say support because I don't like that kind of old school things, talking about support a lot, but you're doing it, you have to do that, right? And when you're false chording, when you're just learning how to false chord, doing that things, first of all, you're just exhaling it very much. Especially kids can do that really good. Grown people, adults, they're sometimes are shy to do that because it's loud, because it might be dangerous for your voice or something like that. But actually most of the extreme vocalists on the stage are using false chord. Not many of them using fry because fry is more difficult and less reachable, you know. So yeah, the girls from BABYMETAL, they are using false chord, at least here. I don't know about other songs, but in here, yeah. And this is very classical in kind of a little bit lower position of the larynx and medium ranged note, when you're using extreme vocals in a classical way of false chord, you're actually in a fry too, you need always play with articulation, always play with tongue, always play with lips, throat, length of the throat. You can make it longer or shorter, with a constriction, with a lot of inner articulation, you know, with many things of vocal tract, you know. So yeah, she's doing simple things, but all but gold. I mean, so good. And same, and they do that again and again, and I think they're a mix of their vocals. You can hear that this is the female extreme vocals because there are some higher frequencies, okay? And why I'm telling that it is a simple false chord, because you know, I can hear that the position of the larynx is not high, not low, just middle. And when it's middle, it sounds oh, something like that. I'm doing it silently because it's night. It's almost midnight, and my neighbors hate me, you know, all the time. And they are just repeating and repeating and repeating. And I think we need to move to the choir. Oh, no, not the choir, but this part. This part is kind of their voices, a little bit just synthesized, but I think they can do themselves, da 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 da. Everybody can do that. Everybody can just put on the larynx up high to use a little bit of constriction, and you will get that voice. But there are some, also I think there are some layers of the vocals which are synthesized, so it sounds cool. I mean, this, and you can hear the dissonance between the layers, which complements the guitars, because in the guitars it's kind of same. And I love the difference when she ended up singing and then this is cool. So cool idea about that synthesized thing. Oh, that cute face in the end. Okay, let's move on to the choir. This is a like normal good female mix based on the thick closure of vocal folds, I think. Not thin. Sounds like fat. You can recognize that like a little bit. You can hear that like a little bit, maybe childish, maybe thin, maybe nasal. But I think this is the specific aspects of singing in Japanese, you know, because Asian languages sound kind of like that because of the specific phonation, you know, also. Cool. And I love how their voices are also synthesized. So it's normally recorded, and then I love the effects on their voices that make the sound more like cartoon sound. The harmonies that they use sound like unrealistically clean. I mean, unrealistically tuned. Also cool effect. And yeah, it makes the effect of like not real person singing or cartoonist singing, you know, that's something like that. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, let's move on and listen to Alex Terrible's voice. Yeah, his false chords are huge. Like, yeah, he's using false chord, and this is like kind of obvious because only on false chord technique you can make that loud sound, that loudness, you know, extremely loud. So because you have to control a lot of breath, a lot of exhale, a lot of air, and you need to always to control the resistance. About Alex Terrible, he's using like one technique, but he's well playing with larynx and that like throat position, because when he's doing his like deep growls, I saw his interview, he's saying like, I am putting my larynx like down, like yeah, this is possible. Probably he's doing this, but what I also heard, I think mostly he's changing like a throat size, because our throat is also can be reshaped. I don't know, maybe it sounds like so interesting, and I don't know, what do you think about that? But yeah, I can tell that our throat position and the size, which we can correct, makes sense in this case. Sometimes he sounds like his larynx are not like really low, but the position of the throat. So if you can do that, and then you want to do make like a really deep sound, sometimes your larynx it's interesting, it's jumping up high, but your throat is still like that. It's something about like opera vocal, it's the same. Sometimes opera vocal and deep false chord are about the same things, about the same position. When the opera vocalists are like opening the throat, opening mouth, and trying to reach that huge sound with a huge volume and loudness, they use like throat and mouth, lips as a acoustic instrument. So it depends on not just putting lyrics down, it depends on many things in extreme vocals and opera vocals. This is not obvious how classical vocals are bounded to extreme vocals. This is so interesting theory. What do you think about that? Yeah, but really he has that animal sound vibes. Not many vocalists can do that. Actually, I think there are also not just about the larynx, there are some things about like moving tongue, you know, some movings or of like deeper parts of the tongue, you know, something like that. Yeah. And also like, of course, his vocals, look how different voices can sound on the same technique. Like, of course, girls are not using that animal things. I mean, the baby metal girls. Other girls can do that, I think. Some of the extreme vocalists, I saw that. In this case, if we will be back to the case, in this case, like the bands, they use like false chords, but in a different way. Like baby metal uses that in a classical, simple way But Slaughter to Prevail use in a reformed way of vocal, of false chord, sorry. Yeah, in here, there is so interesting sound in this part when he sings 3. I even can hear the polytone, you know. And yeah, you can hear I don't know, he wasn't singing like live during the shooting, but we can hear the 3. And you are like, sorry for all this moving. That's why I love that more. When he's like trying to make that voice, that kind of deeper voice, he pushes the jaw like forward, and the tongue itself in this position goes like that. And when you're doing even just a normal false chord, like it sounds something like that. And I think he does something with the larynx or maybe with the constriction, because it's obviously like more constricted sound. It's not like wide open as a girl does. It's like, I can't do that loudly, sorry. But yeah, I think you understood. And I like how he changed the sound here. But he was jumping from clean to extremes. But he does like extreme, and he jumps to clean and metal again as a scream. I love that both bands are like, I already told that in previous video about that featuring. This is absurd. He's an animal, and I love how both bands are like on the different sides of absurd in a good way. Yeah, sometimes when his false chords are getting higher, because he's changing not only the tone, he's changing the facial expression. So when the sound is deeper, he does that. When the sound is lighter, he does that. You know. Cool. Yeah, so deep, so cool. Sometimes his false chords sound like a normal false chord without any like deeper changes, but most of the time, yeah. Like I was actually on the concert. I visited a concert of Slaughter to Prevail in Istanbul a couple of years ago. A big amount of the time he sings like normal false chord or higher false chord, but he just trained so huge loudness. This is the difference of him from the other singers. Yeah, animal sounds. Yeah. So yeah, to make that animal thing, you need to play with the you need a false chord as a bass, and also as I told before, like play with the tongue, play with the position, facial expressions, and so on. That dance, so cool. Nice, cool. And here is a deeper thing. I believe so. It's not obvious here, but I believe to make the deep voice, he did something like, yeah, he probably put the larynx down and did something like that with his mouth. Yeah. And when he does that, sometimes for that tone change, you need just change the facial expressions, just that sometimes, and sometimes no, but and actually he's like higher screams. It sounds like just a typical false chord. yeah, it's the more normal false chord right now. So yeah, guys, what do you think about that kind of vocal analysis? Sorry, I couldn't like show it loudly because of my neighbors. Like actually they sometimes send in me messages even in it during the day, like Alex, stop doing this, like please. Sometimes they are like, oh, you're saying really good today. So I think like, but what should I do? Like I live here and I'm work, like what should I do? Nothing. But they got used to me. So guess what I think, and let me know, did you like that analysis or not? If you wanted to see just the reaction, you can just follow another video of mine which I have and see the reaction. Okay, see you, bye bye.